Good morning, Rabbi Isai. It's very good, very good. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't as good as the link. Oh, very good. All right. Listen. Shalom Aleichem. The Valley. We're here live in Los Angeles, in the Valley. Thank you for coming out. Matzi Shabbos. We have a very special guest here. We have Avi Kamiansky and Mordechai Kamiansky, all the way from Ramat Shemesh. We have with us Peretz Chaim Levin. Where is he? Peretz Chaim is by the door over there. He himself, we don't know anymore. We stopped counting at 1,500. He brought 1,500 people to the shir. So it's tremendous. And I want to talk about that a little bit. The reason why I'm here, the big reason, other than visiting my son, but the real reason, don't tell him, he's not here tonight, and he won't know if you don't tell him. I'm here to be mechazik the MDY mishpacha, guys that are doing the shir. First of all, who here does Daf Yomi? Bunch of liars. For real? That many people? Who here does it with MDY? Okay, not bad. Not really? Not bad. How about you? You did the daf? How come you didn't raise your hand?
I did.
Oh, okay. Good. Shlomo, you raised your hand? Why not? Well, let's do this again. Who here does MDY daf? Come on, raise your hand. Mordechai, you don't do? Not bad. Okay, beautiful. So, I think we can do better. I think more people could learn daf. More people could learn the daf with us. And more of us could go out and encourage other people to do the daf. Now, you could ask Shlomo Lazar, and he's sitting all the way in that corner over there. We walked home from shul. It took us an hour to get home. I knocked on random people's doors. He was so embarrassed. Emes, true story. I knocked on just 3 people's doors. I said, this guy, okay, one guy had a brand new Ferrari, and he had 4 cars, a brand new Bentley, Ferrari, and a Mercedes. Rolls Royce. He's on your block? So you live on Shlomo Lazarian's block? You didn't know that you live on the same block as Shlomo? He lives 3 houses down from that guy. Anyways, I knocked on his house, asked him. Knocked on his house, Simon, Shalom Aleichem. I'm assuming you don't do the daf, you got to do the daf. You know, I gave the whole spiel. And a few other people knocked on the door because I wanted to tell Shlomo that you don't have to be embarrassed. Nobody ever let me down. Nobody ever was upset at me. They appreciate it. And, right? I knocked on that. Your guys, you ate lunch there. And it just so happened to be that I didn't know that you were going to eat lunch there, and I didn't see you there. But I knocked on the guy's door. Shalom Aleichem. I spoke to them on Friday, but I wanted to follow through, make sure that they're serious. Is he going to do the daf? The son-in-law, that's what I'm talking about. He said he did Shas already once before. So here's the thing. We have a link here. I'm just going to put it on the screen here. If you're part of the daf, do me a favor, scan this, and this will take you straight into the LA WhatsApp group. You could do it with this. If you're not on the group yet, there was literally over 40 people that were learning with us, and they didn't even know a group existed. So we got about 40 new guys on the LA group. We're close to 200 people on the group. But it's not good enough to just be on a group. We want the guys that are doing it to feel that they're part of it. We have to have some get-togethers in the Valley, once in a while, the Malav Malka, Peretz Chaim Levin, you could ask him once a month. They do a whole thing, pizza, this, in a restaurant. They watch the shir live. It's a lot more effective when there's something more than just a screen. You're part of a mishpacha. You're part of something special, and it really helps. So there's a number of things. Number one, if you're part of MDY, then jump on the group and try to be part of it. We're actually looking for somebody to take LA, the Valley, to be that person. We need a leader. We need a rep. People are like quiet here. They're very proper. They're very LA-ish. We need somebody to go out there and be New Yorkish and, get the chevra together. Somebody has to rise up to the occasion. Because any city that we're in that has one guy, I'll call him a Meshugana, but I don't really mean a Meshugana. I mean like a Peretz Chaim Levine. You know that this guy, Peretz Chaim Levine, he sat in front of supermarkets on Thursday, the entire Thursday and the entire Friday to recruit more people. When I spoke to him on Thursday night, he recruited over 10 people. That's 10 neshamas that are going to be learning Torah, and it's going to change their lives and change their family lives. That's how we got to 1,500. But he's an executive in Goldman Sachs. He's a vice president in Goldman Sachs. He's a successful businessman. He's not a guy, he has nothing better to do. He has a lot to do, but he makes it his mission to get another person to learn Torah. Wherever he goes, he schleps gemaras, this, that. If you're not doing Daf Yomi and you're thinking about it, so tonight is a great night. We're giving out free gemaras here. It's the next volume that's starting in about 6-7 days. You get a free gemara if you want to join. But before I start the shir, I want to call upon at least one person to tell over his story, how the daf has changed his life, what impact it had. And I want to call up Joel Izuri. Is he here? Where's Joel? Has a beautiful story. Come here, Joel. He's an LA guy, and he has an important message. Here. Is this pull it off? Yeah, why not? I go like this. Beautiful. Go.
So, Shavua Tov, everybody. Shavua Tov, Rabbi. Kavach. Good to see you.
I don't know if you need this. It might be ruined.
Okay. No? Okay, just talk. Okay. Nice to be here with everyone in the valley. It's a beautiful kahila. And so it's not something that I usually do. But Rabbi Eli asked me to talk. I spoke on Thursday briefly, and he asked me to talk about my life story a little bit and in a little more detail. So had a hakar satov to the rabbi. I'm so grateful for what he's done for me in my life. That I'm happy to speak for a few minutes. I didn't bring a paper today, so
From the heart.
From the heart. That's what I said. My name is Joel Izuri, and my wife and I went to Colorado about 2.5 years ago for our 12th anniversary. We went for a few reasons besides the anniversary. We have 5 kids, and my wife Lior Tova was such a great mother. She called our kids mother lovers because they were always so attached to her. And one day a week on Sundays, she would send me out with the kids. And for like 3-4 hours at a time, actually, looking back on it now, it was meant to be because I learned how to really handle the kids myself on those days. How to prepare diaper bags, food, snacks, those things. So it was good preparation. Now it's just every day of the week. So we went to Colorado, had a great time. We went out to some restaurants, we went skiing. It was time of our life. Any time I had with Leo one-on-one was the best gift. I loved her company, and I valued every minute we had together. And at the end of the ski trip of that day, we were at the ski resorts, and at Daven Mincha, it was getting late, and we were driving back from the mountain in western Colorado. And the last memory I have was getting dark and we're turning around a bend, and I learned that we were in a massive collision with a huge truck that was on the highway, and there was a blizzard, and I have no recollection of the collision to this day. I pretty much woke up in the hospital, and they administered fentanyl to me. They thought initially I had a brain bleed. They didn't know if I would make it. And they told me that Lior didn't make it. So and then I came back to LA the next day and buried her. It was very overwhelming, and I didn't know what was going on for the first month. I was just physically a mess. I was all black and blue. It's a miracle that I'm not all broken bones right now. And it took me just some time just to digest what happened. There was a moment after, 2 or 3 months down the road, my youngest daughter at the time was 7 or 8 months old, and I was out for a walk a day, and I didn't feel like I wanted to live anymore. Not to that extent, but I didn't feel a reason to live because I loved Lior so much. She wasn't just my wife, she was my whole life. Everything revolved around her on a daily basis, going to the store. I miss bringing her gifts and flowers and spending time with her. And but I came home and I saw my youngest daughter at the door greeting me with a smile, and I know that I have to go weiter and continue living for the children. That's what she would want, the kids to raise in the best way possible. So to go back, take a step back, 12 years, or just in my life, I was, we go through, everything happens for a reason. I was raised in Atlanta, Georgia, a special out-of-town community, and I wasn't surrounded by my personal life with people in happy marriages. Unfortunately, it was a lot of the opposite. And I grew up wanting to have the exact opposite of what I experienced. I wanted to, be the best husband ever. That was my goal in life. And I learned it's not something that you're inherently born with. It's a commitment. Just like with the Daf Yomi, it's a commitment. Rabbi Stefansky always says it's not about the Daf, it's the Yomi. It's each day that you are committed to doing the Daf, it's a commitment. And even if you miss a day or make a mistake in life, you have to get back on the train. Don't give up. You stay committed. So with regard to marriage, thank God it was easier for me than by most people because I was married to Lior, and she was an amazing person who went through her own journey in life to become the person that she was. She was always working on herself. And so there's a few principles that I want to share with you guys that I learned that really helped me out. 2 are from Rabbi Shalom Arush. He has Garden of Peace, and I swear by it, and 2 from Rabbi Binyomin Shafir, the Shmuz. Because, men and women, we're very different people, Men of a way, there was an emoji or picture going around a few years ago on WhatsApp, and there was a YouTube clip, actually, and there was a woman with, a nail in her head. I don't know if you guys saw this. And she's telling her husband all about her pains in her head, and he's like, I can help you right now. I can pull the nail out. And she goes, you're not listening, Just that's how women and men are. We want to fix an issue. Women want, it's a different type of animal. But so Rabbi Arush says, in a marriage, there's 2 principles. There's 1, you never criticize. She says, honey, you're wearing a purple shirt. You're wearing a purple shirt. That's what it is. Even if the shirt's white, but she's you're right or you're in a relationship. That applies to anything in life. You're right or you're in a relationship. All the more so with the marriage. And number 2, make her number 1. In life, if you make your spouse number 1, eventually she'll want to do it for the sake of making her happy, but she'll eventually want to make you happy too. But if you make her number 1, I think there was an example. We watched the Super Bowl 2 minutes to go in the game. She says, honey, go to the grocery store. I need some more food or snacks. Most men would say, 2 minutes, wait 2 minutes, but if you go right away, she'll always remember that and she'll feel number 1. I don't know if that applies to the Daf. If you're doing the Daf, she says, maybe it's different than everything else except for the Daf,
That's terrible advice, by the way. Don't listen. If you're 2 minutes to the Super Bowl, you don't go to the store. What are you talking about?
You're going to get tested in life. They're going to test you at the hardest moments. It's going to happen to every single man. Trust me, I know that for sure from experience. And the other 2 pointers, Rabbi Binyomin Shafir says, he says, once a week to go on a date with your wife. Once a week, just go on a date. It could be a lunch, dinner, and every 2 months to go out with your wife to a hotel. Just to go for 1 night. And most people say, Rabbi, I don't have the time, it's too expensive. He says, well, lawyers are a lot more expensive, right? God forbid. So these are things, it's about commitments. If you are committed, just like with the Daf, and you committed to having a happy marriage, it's the best way to live your life. And I haven't had Lior with me the last few years, but I have been learning Rabbi Stefansky since I learned last year for Lior's Yortzeit from Megillah, and it's changed my life. At the end of each day, I know that I learned the Daf, and it's an accomplishment each day, knowing that part of my day, it's a highlight of my day. It truly is, and the beauty of the Achdus of you can see here worldwide we have. Rabbi always says this, we have Sephardim, Ashkenazim, Hasidim, the Chayalim, And this is something that he encourages. And I don't know of any other organization in the whole world that has such a beautiful variety of Jewish people who are so close to each other. And it's in this time in my life, being part of another family is something that's so special to me, and it's priceless. And I'm forever grateful to everyone here, and obviously to Rabbi Stefansky for what you do. And we should only see revealed good in all of our lives. God willing.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right. Very inspiring words. When he first told me the story, I think it was on Wednesday, I started crying and I said, you got to tell the tzibur. You have to tell the people. I know that it's difficult, but maybe it'll inspire somebody. And by the way, this is not part of the shir. This is like pre-shir. So we're going to get this shir. It's a shorter daf today. And, I do want to say thank you to the Rav, the Rabbi, Rabbi Biton, for allowing us to be here, for hosting, Shlomo Lelazarian, Harry Shalom. Who else? Harry, Shkoyach, for setting everything up. Who else? Rabbi, Shlomo. You guys had pizza yet? Do we have pizza? Did it come? What outside? We have to bring the pizza in. No? I'm not going to say that Rabbi Gold just walked in, but it's a big honor, big fan. Then I was looking. If you go outside, I'm not going to have a shear left, so you got to stay. They're all like. So the daf changes people's lives. Not all daf. This daf, in particular, it's a life changer. It brings consistency to your life, consistency in Yiddishkeit, consistency in a lot of different areas in life. And that's what Joel was saying. Brought him consistency, brought him mishpacha, brought him a little bit of an achama. And before we go on, and before we start the actual shir, I want to call one more person up. 5 minutes. How long is your thing? What? 5, 6 minutes. I'll tell you, if it's really, really good, we'll give it a little. So Yaakov Addison, right? Shalom Aleichem, Reb Yaakov, come up. One more. Let me put this on you as well, so we get it over here.
Get all clipped up.
All right. This is, by the way, this is something new. We really don't do this, but these guys on Wednesday really inspired me, and I said, share your story with this tzibur. I think they'll appreciate it. So here we go. Here, Yaakov. Go ahead.
What's going on, guys? My name is Yaakov Addison, and I just want to take a show of hands. Who here has a little bit of trauma from grade school, from learning Gemara? Just a show of hands, a little bit of trauma. A little bit, okay. So use this space as like a little bit of a group therapy, because, it's traumati ani maskir hayom. I also had a lot of trauma growing, in school. And I was that kid that was always, they knocked on the door and they opened it and said, I need him. They'd pull me out in the middle of class, and they do Kriya with me and they go over with me. I had a tough time learning. I had a tough time understanding. I had a tough time with Kriya. That was a struggle that I had all the way until yeshiva. Fast forward, I recently had a chabura, and it wasn't every night, like Rabbi said. Every night, no matter what. It was 2 times, 3 times a night. We would be in a chabura and we would learn. And then I got a job. I finished school and I became a mechanical engineer, and I got a job up in Port Hueneme, if you guys are familiar. That's Oxnard, and at the port in the Navy port over there. And it was a big schlep, 111 miles round trip. And I listened to every podcast, I listened to every shir, but there was something that was missing, and as a result, because of the schlep, I no longer could learn at night. I came home as a smartut. I came home as a shmata. I absolutely had no energy left in the tank to learn. So I figured I'll listen to the shir on the way there. Happened to be Sota Daf Base. First shir, popped it in at perfect timing, started learning. As a result, that was my schedule, and that was what I was doing. And shortly after almost a year at this Navy port, I got let go. It was out of the blue. I had no idea it was coming, and I was shocked. I had no idea that I was being let go. When I came home, I didn't know what to do. And when things are all over the place, there's something that's consistent in your life. That's something you gravitate towards immediately, and that was the daf. The daf was still there. So I had something to look forward to. My wife, she's a night nurse, so that option to go learn at night was not available anymore. I had to be at home because I had to stay with the baby. So as a result, my whole day and my whole life shifted, but the daf was still there. It was still consistent. At nights, now I learn the daf. Whether I'm, the house still needs to be cleaned, so I'll do the dishes, clean up the toys, sweep, and have our belly right there in the daf. We all have lives. We all have things that move around, but we all have the ability to point and to plug in the daf. And I'm not going to say the daf changed my life, because some people don't like change. People like the way that they're living. The daf improved my life. And I think that people that need something of an improvement in their lives, they could benefit from the daf. We all have our trauma, we all have our troubles. But with the daf, you can enhance your life.
Oh, beautiful. You have more?
No, that's it.
Thank you so much. Let me grab this. Awesome. All right. Beautiful, beautiful. I think it was well worth listening and hearing these things. And I want to do it in the future as well. I think it's great. We have one more speaker. I'm going to call up Rabbi Yoel Gold. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. All right. How about we sing, it became like just tradition. We have to sing Achenu, I think. Why not? For the Chayalim, the hostages, the situation in Eretz Yisrael. Avi and I, we live in the same block. And we don't want to tell the Olam. He says he's fine. I have a little trauma, living there. It's not easy for the guys in Eretz Yisrael. Even now, think about now. They don't know, is there going to be attack, not going to be attack, what's going to be. Like, people live in fear. My wife was sleeping when the first Iranian missiles came in and the sirens went off at 2 a.m, and she has trauma from it. I played something on my phone with the she has a little trauma. So I think a good achenu, like from the heart, would go a long way. And we'll go right into the daf. We'll make it nice and quick. It's shorter, and it's a beautiful daf. And here we go. Help me. And I ask everybody together, even the guys that sing off tune, we need you guys tonight. Achenu kol beis Yisrael. Achenu kol beis Yisrael. Anisunim batzara u'bashira. Oidim bein vayom u'bein vayava. practice. Now we have to do it for real. You guys ready? Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Oh, that's better. That's geschmack. Lili nishmas imi merasi rizbas Mordechai. I just want to read one email. Let's see. Yeah, by Josh Layton. Where is he? Where's Josh?
He's my son, but this is brother.
Oh, he's in New York. He's not even here. Rebelli, this is Josh Layton. My father and brother, I thought he's going to be here. My father and brother will be there tonight in the valley, and I'd love to have a message read. Abba, thank you so much for introducing me to this shir. Even though when I met Rebelli 4 months ago, I said it didn't change my life, it only enhanced it. That's definitely not true. It has changed my life so many ways, and I'm very appreciative. The house is a different place because you do the shir. Your dedication to that, and as a result, Shnai Mikra, Mishnah Yomi is beautiful, and everyone has noticed that the house has more Kedusha in it. Ask about the new bookshelf. What's that? More Kedusha. Akiva, I was out to be by your first siyum 2 months ago on Bava Basra, and I'm so happy the time worked out. Keep up the hard work and cheer, and you and Abba should be zochet to many more siyumim be'ezus Hashem, Yeshakayach, Josh Layton. You could throw in there that I'm very proud of both my father and my brother. Very proud of you. P.S. For someone who claims to have such a bad memory, it's pretty impressive. You remembered me. All right. One interesting thing before we start, we could actually, maybe I'll throw it in the middle, Shir. I'll throw it in the middle. Why not? So I'll just do the sponsors real quickly. You guys get to see my sponsors. Okay, no, not a problem. The Color of the Month sponsored by Binyomin Rosenfeld for Hatzlacha in Business.
Amen.
Sechta sponsor safe and speedy return of all the hostages. Paras HaChodesh, L'nishma Zechariah ben Moshe, L'nishma Zechariah bas Yosef. Paras HaChodesh, Yedidya Pereira. Please daven for Pidyon Shvoyim, Yonathan Yehuda ben Michal. That's the mile in Ireland, incarcerated, denied bail in Ireland. Paras HaChodesh, Binyomin Rosenfeld, with gratitude, Biderman, Rebelli, Gedale Fenster, and Michael Safdie. Paras HaShavua, for complete Refuah, Bracha Avigail, Bas Rochel, Gitta. Paras HaShavua, official Mitzvah Motivators, L'schus Refuah Shelaima, Yaakov Shlomo, Ben Rochel Leah, Pressman, father of MD Wire, Elchanan Pressman, Zaidi of MD Wire, Yechiel Elchanan Hefter, Refuah Shelaima. Paras HaYoim, L'zech Nishmas Chai Pesel, Bas, Yitzchok Moshe, whose yahrzeit is today. Paras HaYoim, Moshe Kinsbursky, he's here in the house. Rebelli, welcome to the valley. Thank you for making Torah enjoyable and accessible to so many. So I have to say, Akar Satayv to Moshe Kinsbursky. He came to Ramat Shemesh, and he told me after she, he says, listen, I do custom suits. I want to give you a custom suit. So he comes to my house, he measured me, and he sends me this beautiful black custom suit that I wore in Chicago. And inside was all MDY, and it says Geschmack to do that, the whole thing. And then, after, I don't know, a few months or so, another custom suit with another MDY theme thing. Yesterday, huh?
That one's really from Harry.
That's from Harry.
Harry Shalom.
It is? Harry, get over here. Shkoyach. I never said the Shkoyach. I hope your wife doesn't know about this one.
I don't know.
Go. Eric, get in the thing. Harry, Shkoyach. This is the bobblehead guy made a bobblehead. He's the one, true story. I was sitting at a cafe somewhere in Los Angeles by... Mensch?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this pickup truck drives by and stops and beeps. Like, okay. And the guy goes, and he goes like this. I didn't realize it's him. And he showed me that his license plate said, what did it say? 8 Min Daf. Back in the day, we had 8 Min Daf. That was his license plate. And now he tells me, and he took it off on the spot. He had a screwdriver. He gave it to me. And he got a bunch of tickets because he only had one license plate here. Thank you, Harry, for the suit. Wow, beautiful. So yours, now I get it. It's the bobblehead suit. But anyways, yesterday, after giving 3 shiurim, because I did 2 English and 1 Hebrew, different dapim, I was exhausted. All of a sudden, Moshe Kinsbursky shows up with a Castell bottle of wine. He's a giver, a nice one. Moshe, thank you. Moshe Kinsbursky, Rebelli, welcome to the valley. Thank you for making Torah enjoyable and accessible to so many. Thank you. Paras Hayoim, Lezeche Nishmas, my grandfather, Yaakov ben Naftali Hertz, Jack Schnell, my grandfather. Oh, Jack Schnell's house is exactly directly across the street from where I live, where our house is in Lincolnwood today. Vacation home. For Zechus, the art of the month, for Zechus, to Rebelli, and the whole MDY staff, to continue to make Torah so enjoyable for so many. Shkoyach. All right, here we go, Rabbi Isai. Today is Daf Nun Dalid, and we're holding on the bottom of Nun Gimel Amud Beis, the last line. Omar Rabbi Yirmiyah Beira Omar Rabbi Yehuda. Say the name of Rabbi Yehuda. Hayman Deshada Lifta, if you throw in a turnip seed into the ground, Beipile De'ara, in a crack in the ground, the ger of a convert. So we're talking about, this is Cheskes Habatim. I was talking to a lawyer today, a very famous criminal lawyer, defense lawyer, and I said, you got to do the daf. And he's like, what are you guys learning? I said, Bava Basra. He says, oh, that's tough. That's tough. It's been so easy. It's been geschmack. It's not tough at all. Now you tell me today. If today's daf is tough, then the whole Masechta is tough. It's not a tough Masechta. We're talking about chazaka. There's two types of chazaka. There's a chazaka sitting in somebody's land for 3 years and nobody says a word to you. Then it's proof that it's yours if you claim that you actually bought it. And there's a chazaka of doing something to improve the land. So I want to show you. These are the rules. If you want to acquire real estate through a chazaka, through improving the land, not sitting there for 3 years, that's something completely different. It's actually a different halacha, different law completely. This is the halacha of chazaka. It's called the same thing. I said once in Chicago, I said, it's like beer and beer. So they said, what do you mean beer and beer? It's bear and beer. It's two different words. I was like, oh, I'm from New York. It's beer and beer. What's the name of the football team? The Bears or Bears? They said Bears. Okay, if that's what you want to call it. Great. What do they call it here in LA? But the animal, what's the animal? It's a bear? It's different than beer? Okay, I have charata, sorry. New Yorkers, they don't know how to talk so well. Okay, great. You know what I'm talking about. There's words that have two different meanings, but they're spelled and whatever. Okay. Night and night, okay. But they're just not spelled the same way, but they're chazaka and chazaka. There's a 3-year chazaka. That's when somebody squats in a property for 3 years and no one says anything to him. But then there's a chazaka, a kinyan chazaka. He doesn't claim to have bought it from anybody. He does a kinyan. He takes a shovel and he makes a hole in the ground. It becomes his on the spot. But there's some rules. First of all, rule number 1 on the right. It has to be shevach karka b'yadayim. It has to improve. You have to do improvement in the land. Also, you have to have the right intent. Judaism is in the head. It's about kavana. What were you thinking when you did it? You could be davening, thinking about that, and you didn't daven, or you could not daven, but think about Hashem, it's like davening. It's in the head, right? So if you have kavana to improve the property, it becomes yours. You have kavana to do a kinyan, it becomes yours. But you have to have the right kavana to improve and to make it yours. Great. So until now we learned about noal gadol paratz. You lock the property up, you build the wall higher where it's more difficult to come into the property, or you open up the wall. You make an opening, you make it easier to come in. What about planting a seed? Let's think about it for a second. You plant the seed. Is that improving the property? Yeah, maybe. But did you improve the property right now? When you threw the seed in the ground, did anything change? 0. So therefore, says the Gemara here, we even have a short video, if anybody wants to see what happens when you throw a turnip seed into the ground. It will look something like this. Is it skipping around? It's not playing well. Hold on. No. I don't know what's going on here. Here we go. Puts a seed in there, puts some water, and on the left top corner it tells you the days. Day 7, 8, 9, 10. There's a turnip. Oh, here's the turnip. So basically it takes 50 days for this turnip to grow from nothing to something. So says the Gemara, Haiman deshada lifta beipile. He threw the seed of the turnip into the ground. Into a crack. He didn't even open up the ground. He just threw it in a available crack. The Ari the Ger, we're talking about a convert, a Ger that doesn't have anybody to inherit him. So his belongings become hefker. Lo yahave chazaka, it's not a chazaka. My taima, why not? Be'idna deshada lo yahave shvacha. At the moment when you threw the seed into the ground, you didn't improve the ground. Hashta de koshavach, memele koshavach. So the seed grew by itself. You didn't do it. The next 50 days, it happened by itself. So that's not a chazaka. What you did was nothing, and what happened afterwards happened by itself. That's not a chazaka. Now I'm going to pose a question for a second. What happened? It went off? Uh-oh. We're good. Great. So, we had a case the other day, yesterday, where a person takes a mattress and puts it down on a piece of property, and he sleeps on the mattress. That's a good chazaka. So this is what Gemara is all about. You take two similar ideas, and you want to understand why they're different. And you can take that, and you can use that in business. It works a lot. Like, that, the logic, to differentiate, to say this is different than this. So why is it different? Why is it okay to put a mattress on the ground and sleep on the mattress, and you didn't even do that, you didn't touch the ground. Nothing changed on the property. It was a flat property, you put it down, you put a mattress down, and it becomes yours. That's chazaka. But if you put a seed in the ground, that's not. So what's the difference? Know anybody?
Immediate results. More immediate benefit.
Saying good. By sleeping, what happens when you sleep on the mattress?
Seeing this area much faster than 50 days.
Very good. He's right. What's your name?
Nathaniel
Yitzchakov. You're getting immediate benefits, says Nathaniel Yitzchakov. You're getting benefit right now. Whereas the turnip is 50 days from now and you didn't even do anything. What you did today didn't do anything. There's no benefit right now. The benefit happened after 50 days, but that wasn't you. That happened by itself. The mattress is, so very good. Amar Shmuel. Says Shmuel, Hayman de Foshach Dikla. Somebody cuts branches off a palm tree. And I don't know, is this, I was talking to my wife. I've never seen palm trees like this in my life. They're 100, 150 feet tall. How come they don't have those in Florida, in Israel? What is this? Is this a special breed? Anybody? No? Huh? I know, but it's crazy. Fine, they're laid back. They're not. Langeluctions. So when you cut those branches off of the palm trees, is it a chazaka or not a chazaka? Says the Gemara, I'll tell you. Adaita the dikla kani. If you're trying to improve the palm tree, so the palm tree became yours. Again, there's a palm tree that a ger left over, and it's hefker. How do you acquire it? By improving the palm tree. So if you did something to improve the palm tree, kaina. Adaita the chivasa loikani. If you cut the branches off for the animals, loikani. Here's a video. Not that you need this video, but why not? I didn't know that animals actually eat palm branches, but here you go. I guess it's a thing. So the Gemara says, "Hey chidami, how could you see when a person cut the branch for an animal or cut the branch for the tree? How do you know?" Shagamai gisa. If he balanced out the tree, took from both sides of the tree, adaita dikla. Then he's trying to improve the tree. Kula b'chad gisa. But if he took only branches from one side, adaita dechevasa. Then, if he only took from one side, then that means he took he cut off the branches for his animals, and he didn't want to improve the tree. You don't want to improve the tree, then it's not yours. Why not? So let's go back to this. What's the problem if you don't? Where's the issue from this chart? These are the things you need to do to make a chazak on a property. You have to improve the property with your hands, which he did. But he didn't have kavana. His kavana wasn't there. His kavana was for an animal, not to acquire the tree. So if you don't have the right kavana, what happens? It's not a kinyan. The beautiful tree is not yours. What?
Property has to be hefker.
Only in hefker. Well, it could maybe work if somebody wants to give it to you, but we're talking about a case of hefker. Yeah. So I see another thing here. Personally, you could argue, but I see this idea of balance. To have a Jew has to have balance. Over here, when you cut the branches from one side and you leave it on the other side, it's not a chazaka. You have to take it from both sides. Why? For me, it's an idea of balance. Balance in Yiddishkeit. Not to be too much of a tzaddik, the Torah says. Not to be, but I want to take it a little bit in a different direction. I noticed, and I've been speaking to a lot of people over Shabbos as well, and I spoke about it on Thursday night. I was in the Jacobs backyard. They have this mishmar thing. And I talk to people about this all the time. Especially in America, Chutz La'aretz, people are not balanced. They work way too much. They're trying to make parnasa. They're running after that buck. And the amount of hours people put into parnasa, I believe personally, I don't think it's balanced. You have to have a balanced life with Torah and parnasa. Even the koil guy, I hope I don't get thrown off of kol Hashem because of this. Learning all day might also not be the answer. A little bit of parnasa, but the guys that work 14, 15 hours a day, I don't understand. Like, where do they get it from? What's going on? First of all, what about your family? And I used to do this. I'm guilty. I could talk about it because I was one of those people. 15, 16 hours a day, trying to make it. But that means that back then I didn't have enough bitachon. I didn't believe in Hashem. That's what it means. Because if you believe in Hashem, you have to do your hishtalis. Why is a Jew, think about it, why is a Jew allowed to work? Why can we work? Who gave us the permission to work? We work, and this might sound crazy, but you might hate what I'm saying now. You'll think about it for 2 minutes afterwards, and you'll see I'm right. We're allowed to work because we have to make a parnasa for our family. We have to make ishtadlus. But all of a sudden, this is the one ishtadlus that I know of that people do ishtadlus every single day for 16 hours. We have to do 20 other ishtadluses, like chinuch and shalom bayis and taking care of our bodies, exercises, ishtadlus, and all the stuff. Nobody exercises for 16 hours a day, and if he does, he's not balanced. That's what I'm saying. You got to be balanced. You have to make a parnasa. What's wrong with 8 hours a day? What's wrong? 14 hours. Well, you really believe that if you work 16 hours a day, you're going to make more money than 8 hours a day? Really? That means you don't have enough bitachon. Because we say, the Baruch gives us parnasa on Rosh Hashanah. So you can do whatever you want to do. You could work 20 hours a day, you're going to make the same amount of money. And ask people that have tried it and done it, and they'll tell you. As soon as you spend a little bit more time learning Torah and spending a little bit more time with your family, nothing happens to your business. Zero. In fact, all of a sudden, it gets a little bit better somehow. Try it out. The idea of balance. Zog the Gemara. V'omer Shmuel. Hayman de Zochi Zichya. A person who cleans up his property, removes the dead wood in the property. Here we have a little bit of a video. No? Here. No. Mark, before you push any buttons, let me push over here. Not working today. Okay. Next. Basically, it's a machine that runs around the property, and I don't know what's going on today. Should I do this? It's the valley. Something about the valley. Oh, here. It's working. Baruch Hashem. Third try. I could go weiter. Basically, this guy, what he's doing is he's cleaning up. He has a big piece of property. He's cleaning up, and you'll see he has a lot of like wood and twig. Here, you see right over here. All the wood, the twigs, that's what we're talking about. Collecting the twigs, the wood, the branches off his property. Is that a chazaka or not a chazaka? Says Gemara, Adaita da'ara, same thing over. If you're doing it to improve the land, you have the kavana, great, it's yours, kani. Adaita d'tzivi, if you're just trying to collect wood for your fireplace, for fuel, for fire, loy kani, no good. Hey chidami, how can I tell? Shaka ravirev is zutre. If you take the large ones and the small ones together, you're taking everything, adaita da'ara. That's for the land. Shaka ravirev v'shavak zutre. When you take the large pieces of wood, what does that tell us? Only large, nothing small. Large means I want it for my fireplace. I don't want small twigs. Adaita d'tzivi, that's shakaravi v'shavak zutre. When you leave the small ones, adaita d'tzivi, obviously you want it for the fuel. So with my theme, what does this remind me of? This reminds me of also Yiddishkeit. Taking the big and the small. When you do halacha, you do Mishnah Brura, you've been dactic even on the small things, not just the big mitzvahs, the big things. But also, not only learning in large chunks. Many times, and I've seen guys with Gemaras, they have a few minutes you're waiting online. It's a great time to catch up on the daf. Instead of like, what do we naturally do? We take out the phone, start doing WhatsApps and stuff like that. You're in line. Another 5 minutes of learning, another 5 minutes of the daf. For those who don't do the daf, it's great time to jump into it. Even the small stuff, not the big chunks, the small chunks. Shmuel, another halacha. I'm on the askil tikla. Oh, this is geschmack. If you have mounds of dirt in a field, and you're getting rid of a takala. Tikla is like a takala, like how do you say takala in English? Anybody? A obstacle. Thank you. An obstacle. Adaita da'ara kani. Adaita debeidari loy kani. If you took away the obstacle, the mound of dirt, and I'll show you in a second. If you took it away for the improvement of the land, great. If not, then it's a beidare, it's a threshing place, a temporary threshing place, loy kani. Here's a threshing place. So, if it's a solid threshing place, you're going to use this for your threshing forever. You're going to put your wheat down and bring your animals in. So the Rashbam says, no, that would be a great kinyan, because I just improved the land. But if it's one of these temporary threshing places, nothing. Hey chidami, how do I know if it's temporary, if you're doing it to improve the land or not? Shakal mulya v'shad benatza. If you take the dirt here, like so, you take dirt and you throw it into the hole. That's normal, right? You have a mound of dirt and you start taking the dirt piles. See, I don't know, something is off today. That's what you're saying? Okay, I'll push the button, and if it plays, it plays. So, if you it's normal to take the dirt and fill up a hole. That's normal. What's the other way to do it? So if you do it this way, you take the dirt, you fill up the hole, then I don't think that's what's going on. I think it's a different problem. Oh, maybe because it has the screen on it? Whatever. It's not a great video anyway. But we have a lot of videos, it's a shame. Okay. Shokal Mulya Yishoda Benatza. Adaita Da'ara, if you had in mind to improve the land, great. Mulya B'Mulya, Venatza Benatza. But if you took the pile and you squashed the pile a little bit, Venatza Benatza, you took the hole and you widened the hole. Here, we have a little bit of a picture here. I hope it works with all the technical difficulty I'm having here. Here's your pile in front of the house. If you go like that, this is a little bit much. I wouldn't exaggerate like that. I think he did better with the hole. Here's a hole in the ground, and you widen the hole. See, you make the hole less by widening it. Here, you know what? I'm going to show you what I sent him. I sent our artist this. It's very amateur, but it might even explain it better than his fancy picture. This is your mound, right? You go like that. You smush it down. This is the hole. You widen it. Okay? That's what I did. Let's see what he did. I'm not a big fan. Okay. So, mulya b'mulya, because what's happening is, that's not good enough. You're trying to get rid of the hole, but you're being lazy. Instead of filling up the hole, you're pulling the hole, you're making it wider and less noticeable. That's not a good way to do it. By taking a mound of dirt and throwing dirt this way and that way, that's not really getting rid of the problem. And that reminds me of one of my most favorite lines and stories that I've said, and I'll share it with you. That's called Yoitzezayin. There's a gewaldige story from the Kapitchnitzer Rebbe. He went to bake matzahs, and when he was done baking matzahs, he gave a tip to the different guys that helped him. A month later, he comes back for the Erev Pesach matzahs. Erev Pesach. It's a big mitzvah. It's min hamufchar. Shulchan Aruch talks about it. Erev Pesach matzahs. And when he's done baking, he goes around giving tips to people. So one of the Hasidim there that got a tip the month before, he says, Rebbe, you don't have to give me a tip. You're already yoitza. You're already yoitza with the tip. So he told him this line right over here. I got to show you this line. It's amazing. It's a life changer, game changer. Ich bin nicht gekommen auf der Welt, yoitza zu sein. He says, I didn't come to this world to be yoitza. What does yoitza sein mean? Sometimes you're not in the mood, you bench, you go, check, did it. Or even the daf. Sometimes it's 3 a.m, you got to be yoitza sein. So you have no idea what you just read, yoitza, check. Sometimes a guy comes for tzedakah, you give him a buck, get out of here. Yoitza sein. Then there's doing the mitzvah. There's doing the mitzvah in the right way. You give the guy another tip. That's not to be yoitza sein. This guy Saka from Sammy Saka, I think his name. I forgot his first. From Miami. He came over. He says, "Remember you said once, like 2 years ago, about yoitza sein?" He says, "You changed the way I give tzedakah. Since then, I don't give tzedakah the same way. I give it fully." And then I remembered this past week. This is a story. I'll never forget this story. It happened within MDY. I said this story just a few days ago, but I have to do chazara. It's so powerful. And Yoel Gold is here. He has to hear the story. It's unbelievable. There's chesed and there's chesed. I'm talking to one of my good friends, and he has a suitcase full of meat. I said, "What's going on here?" I saw the suitcase with my own eyes. Suitcase full of meat. He said, a guy from the Shir called him up and says, "You probably know about different vacation places. Where do you think I should go with my family?" Here, there. He says, "Don't worry. You should go to my house. I have a house that I'm not using right now. Go there. It has a pool. Take him there." He says, "Really?" He says, "Yeah." So he tells me, he says, "But I realized that the guy is not going to be able to have food over there. The house is in a place, there's no So I got a suitcase. He filled it up with meat. He gave him the house, and he filled up a suitcase full of meat. It's like, wow, that's chesed. That's chesed. Okay? I'm schmoozing with him. And then he flies over there, and a few hours later, I'm speaking to him, and he says, oh, I'm going to fly back to where I live. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I don't understand. You just flew over there. I thought you'd be. He goes, no, I flew over there to fill up his freezer with the meat and to make sure he has fresh linen. And now I'm on the way. So this guy, you chop what I'm telling you? This guy gave his house and he bought meat and he flew to another state to fill up the freezer, and then he flew back. That's the only reason why he flew to another state, to fill up the freezer with meat. That's a level of chesed I've never heard of in my life. And that's not to be outside. Oh, the chesed. No. I didn't take a guy in a car, gave him a ride, and then I dropped him off, 3 blocks before his house. I fly to another city to fill up the guy's freezer. Anyway, I just thought I had to share that with you because I'm still in shock from this Maisa. Okay. I'm not saying his name because the Olam is going to start calling him up. Hey, where did I go on vacation? Yeah. Says the Gemara. Yeah. V'omer Shmuel, another halacha. If somebody opens up water into the land, if you did this, you flooded the land for the benefit of the land, kani, it's a good kinyan. But if your idea was to catch fish, loy kani. I'm going to say the famous, most of you know the joke, but in case there's 2 people that don't know the joke, you're going to hear, if nobody laughs, that means everybody knows the joke. But you got to say that it's such a, it's the joke, it's said in many, many different ways. There's a guy sitting fishing with an alarm clock. So a guy comes by and says, how do you fish? What is the fish? He says, no, it's a certain trick that I have. I catch fish. He says, so tell me the trick. He says, if you give me $100, I'll tell you the trick. So he says, oh, fine. The guy gives him $100. He says, how do you do it? He says, I set the alarm, and when it rings, the fish grab onto my fishing rod, and I catch the fish. So the guy goes, so how many fish did you catch today? He goes, you're the 5th one. Oh, you guys didn't really hear it? For real? You're just joking? Oh, you're laughing for me. Okay, great. Awesome. Hechidami. Pasach trei bave. How does it work? If you open up an opening, let's say from the river into your field, and then there's an outlet, chad mayil v'chad meipik, one for the water to come in, one for the water to leave, adat to the kavri. Then obviously you're trying to catch fish. Chad bava, if there's only water coming in, and you're trying to water your field, adat to the ara, then obviously you're doing it for the field, and that's a kinyan. Says the Gemara, a very sad story. And I'll give the Olam Chizuk. I did a siyum on Bava Basra 7.5 years ago, and I invited all my friends. I didn't really tell them, but for me it was a very special siyum. I finished then Bava Basra 22 times. 22 chazaras. But here's the sad part. It's sad, but it's okay. I live with it. I don't remember Bava Basra. When I prepare shir, it's brand new. Literally, brand new. Okay, I'm not as bad as that guy that forgets who he is every 2 minutes. I saw a whole thing about this guy who was in a car accident. Every 2 minutes, his life starts over. Not that bad. But for me, my memory is pretty weak. That's why the guy wrote in the email, your son, oh, pretty good memory, remember me. By the way, I was just pretending I remembered him. I didn't really. So, what? Oh, I did. You're right. I did.
Remember the email?
Yeah. Well, listen, it's 3 minutes ago. So, why am I saying this? Because throughout Bava Basra, I said, oh yeah, there's this woman, I once heard a story, and I'm saying this story right here. I'm saying this story. I said it a number of times in Shir. And it's a Gemara. I thought I heard it, like I read it somewhere. It sounded very familiar, but here it is. It's a sad story. Hayitza, the achla dikla b'saf shicha tleisa shnin. This woman, her neighbor, the ger, dies. She's like, great, he's dead, let me grab his tree. So she starts cutting the branches off the tree for 13 years, not 2 years, 13 years. She's 100% sure this is her tree. She's been eating the fruit for 13 years. Comes along that guy, you know that guy, the guy that does Daf Yomi, and he thinks he's a big chacham. Asahu Rafik Tusei Purta. He said, I learned Daf Yomi that that's not enough. You got to use a shovel. You got to do something with the land. So he goes, takes the shovel, and goes like this once or twice. And then he tells her, by the way, it's my tree, not your tree. She says, what do you mean? I've been here for 13 years. I've been eating the fruit. You got to use the shovel. So they go to the Torah. Also the Kamed the Levi. Kamed the Marukva. Oik Bebiyadeh. And Marukva says, he's right. Sorry, Almana. Or I don't know if she's an almana. I said she's an almana, the whole story. She's a woman. She didn't do the daf. She didn't know. It's sad. But if you don't know the halacha, you don't know the rules, then you lose. Omer la tzavcha, asoyka tzavcha kamei. She started screaming and carrying on. It doesn't make sense. I'm here for 13 years. It's mine. Omer la ma'avid lach. How could I can't help you. I can't change the rules. You just didn't do chazaka like you're supposed to. That's not enough what you did. Omer Rav. Says Rav Atzor Tzur B'nichsi Hager Kana. Oh, this next video better work. Here, Mark, maybe you try it out. I'm not going to touch the buttons. You do it. Check this out. I thought it's a beautiful video. Our guys, we have 3 full-time artists. This is what they did for this sugya. What are you doing with this camera? I don't know what you're doing. Okay, I'm gonna hit the button. Let's see if it works. Sad. It's not working. It's gonna go to the next one. Ay. Shem Yerachim. Feel bad. Well, we're going to show it in... Hold on, Mark. Let me do it. Oh, it's working. A little patience. Sound. Basically what's going on here is this guy spray painted the wall, and because he spray painted the wall, the cops gave him the keys to the house. And he's now in the house, chilling out. So that's what the Gemara says there, that if you paint a nice picture on the wall, you acquire the whole house. That's how it works. Instead of the cops arresting him, they gave him the keys to the house. So says the Gemara, Omer Rav, Hatzar Tzur B'nichse Hager, when you draw a picture on the belongings of a ger that died, Kana, that's a kinyan. The Rav like Kana li Ginsa the Bei Rav Ele Betzurta. Rav didn't acquire the garden of his neighbor, the ger. It's interesting. There's stories in those days. Here we have a story of a woman who grabbed the tree of a ger. I don't know of any ger that died without children, but I guess it happened. So, says the Rashbam, the other day, yesterday, we learned about painting a wall. It has to be an amma by an amma, 2 feet by 2 feet, and that's the minhag that we have today of having a zeichel churban when you walk into the house. Some people do it directly across from when you walk in on the side. There's a large area that's unpainted. Says the Rashbam, but this Gemara is saying that even less than that is okay because it's a beautiful picture. If it's a picture of an animal, of a bird or whatever, that's even less than 2 amma. Itmar, Sadam Suyemes b'mtzorel. If you have a field that's demarcated with different, whatever it is, dirt or whatever, Omer Avun Omer Rav Kivin Shikish B'Makish Echad Kanakula. So we have a Machlekes Rav and Shmuel. Rav says if you take the shovel and go like this once, that's it. It's a kinyan. Everything. Ushmuel amar le'kaneh l'makom ha'koshai. And Shmuel says, no, bilvad. Only the little area where the shovel went into the ground, you get those 5 inches. So you're looking at a field that's 400 acres. According to Rav, you go like this, you get 400 acres. According to Shmuel, you go like this, you get 5 inches. It's a huge nafkamina. But when it comes to regular sale, and I go like this with the shovel, then I'm kaina, according to Shmuel. It's only because I'm trying to acquire it from a ger. Nun dal Amud Beis, v'sheinim mesuyim b'mitzvah, and if it's not demarcated, ad kama. Omer Rav Papa ki da'azal tayara d'shoyrei v'hadar. Oh no, not another video. Hold on, sponsors. There's a video, sponsors. You were waiting for that day, no? Here we go. Oh, it's working. So some people have oxes, some people have motorcycles, but it does the job. You could plow your field with a motorcycle. I just learned that now. So one time back and one time forth, according to the Rashbam, others learn it's east and west, south and north and south. This is the famous story. I've said this a number of times, but there was in Eretz Yisrael, there was a minhag, like the way you would purchase property is you give the guy a certain amount of money, and then as much as you could walk that day, that's how much property you got. So this guy, his love for Eretz Yisrael was so great, he purchased off an Arab, and he started running real quick, and the Arab's like, hey, slow down. And no. He kept on going, and it's like, you're not going to take a break for lunch? No. You're not going to drink? No, I need to go. And he went, and he made a left turn, and he kept on going, and he had it. And he got a tremendous piece of property, and it's called today Petach Tikva. That's the story of Petach Tikva. So according to some of the Rishonim, it means that he went straight, and then he took a left, or whatever it was, but he went east and west, north and south. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. So this is again a guy that did the daf and knows some of the tricks. It's a very, almost like a sad halacha. If you purchase from an idol worshiper, you should know that there's an in-between period that the land, the property, the real estate is like a desert. It's like a desert where when you can make a kinyan, anybody can walk over and make a kinyan in between. My taima, what's the reason? The non-Jew, the idol worshiper, when he receives the money, he's removed from the property. He's no longer the owner. Yisraeli kani, but a Jew could only acquire property at the mati shtar liyadeh. So we have an in-between period. The idol worshiper got money. The Jew didn't get his documents yet. So check this out. It looks something like this. You have an idol worshiper on the right. You have a Jew on the left. The Jew gives the idol worshiper money. So the idol worshiper releases his property. It starts going to and before it got to the Jew number 2 with the shovel, who does the daf, grabs it. Is he a good Jew? He's a very bad Jew. Why is he a bad Jew? Because there's a concept in Shas called ani hamahabach b'charara. There's a poor person he's about to pick up a piece of cake, a donut on the floor, and you jump in there, you slide in, and you grab it. Ani hamahabach b'charara. You're a Rasha. Now, halachically speaking, it says in the daf. Technically speaking, who's the real owner here? The guy with the shovel. But the guy with the shovel, you should know, is a Rasha. That's what the Rishonim say over here. Huh? By Kiddush, no, it's different. It's a mitzvah to steal from the other guy. Sponsors, thank you. Sponsored by Yisrael Share, Construction Management, Supervision, and the Life Share Community, protecting families today before tomorrow's unexpected loss. Ari Rosenstein is here in LA he's running around showing the Olam about his new idea, Life Share Community. Kinnovations of the honor my uncle, Rabbi Chanan Pressman, official, as Chos, for Akiva Simcha ben Fega, and Rivka Yehuda's Bas Yafa Chaya. I'm mentioning my son's name here. It says Akiva Simcha ben Fega. He's giving, he donates $1,800 to say my son's name. My son, Akiva Simcha, works for Shlomo Lazarian. So I have tremendous hakaras hatov. Shlomo Lazarian was doing the shir 3 years ago, and he decided to find my son. He called me up. He says, "Where is he?" I said, "I'm not telling you. He doesn't want you to know." So he didn't care. He started going from store to store to store. He found him in a sushi place, and he hired him. He says, "I need a guy like you to work in real estate." And for 3 years, my son is working by him. So I had tremendous hakaras hatov to Shlomo. He's a big tzaddik. Yishkoyach. That's right, Yishkoyach. Says the Gemara. So, we have this interesting case where a guy gave money to idol worshiper, and comes the other guy and grabs it from him. Amalei Abayla Rabbi Yosef. Miyomer Shmuel Achi, did Shmuel really say this? V'omer Shmuel, Dina de Malchusa Dina. Oh, what does Dina de Malchusa Dina mean? There's a concept in Shas that the law of the kingdom is the law. It doesn't say the law of the king, it says the law of the kingdom. Meaning, if the community accepted upon themselves that we will pay taxes, we'll do certain things, then that is the law. You can't break the law. There's a famous Maisa, I forgot who it is. I still didn't figure it out. I thought it was like Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky or Shmuel Kamenetsky. Let's say it's Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky. He goes into a store with a Kiddush cup, a brand new Kiddush cup, and he says, "Listen, I got this as a gift. I want to know how much this cost." So the guy in the store was, "Okay, interesting." So he told him. But then rumors started spreading. Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky went into the store with a Kiddush cup, asking what's going on. He came back to him. So he got up once and he spoke. He said, "V'yisim nekiyim, there's a mitzvah that I have to be clean. And I want to tell people what happened. I received a gift from the yeshiva, a Kiddush cup. Now, I work for the yeshiva. I get a salary from the yeshiva. So perhaps the Kiddush cup is in addition to my salary, and maybe I have to pay taxes on it. So I went to the store to find out how much a Kiddush cup is worth, so that I could pay taxes on that Kiddush cup. Because dina de malchusa dina. When the government says you have to pay taxes, and everybody agrees that's what we should do, so then there's a chiyuv to listen to the government in that case. So says Abaya to Rabbi Yosef. Yeah, Abaya learned by Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef got older later on in life, and he got sick, and he forgot his learning. Abaya used to remind him. So he says, if the law of the land is that the way to purchase property, I think in America, I don't know for sure, I don't remember anybody ever buying property with cash. It might work, but there's documentation. You have to sign documents. So if the law of the land is documentation, then it's documentation. So how could this Jew jump in there with his shovel and say, "Oh, I acquired it with my shovel"? He needs a document. So really, you should go to the first guy. Dina de malchusa dina. The Rashbam says on the next daf, he says, interesting, how do we know that dina de malchusa dina? I can prove it to you. In other words, how do I know that everybody agrees to this halacha? He says, because if we use bridges, it doesn't apply so much today. But where did these guys get the bridges from? They stole wood from people. Eminent domain. They walked into people's properties and grabbed their wood and used it for the bridge. If it was not true that dina de malchusa dina, we would not be permitted to use a bridge made out of stolen wood. The fact that we use bridges and different things, roads and all the stuff that's basically stolen, the government steals it from people, that means dina de malchusa dina, they have the right to steal it. We as a community, we agree that they should steal it and do it. Interesting, halachas in dina de malchusa dina, you cannot just make up something that people don't agree with. It has to be something that they agree with. You can't do anything that's against halacha. So, let's say the halacha says that only a son inherits a father, not a daughter. So dina de malchusa doesn't override that halacha. So there's an interesting story where somebody forgot to write a will, and his son was going to inherit everything, but the law of the land is that the daughter should also get. So the daughter said, "Listen, I keep halacha, and you get it, but I am not signing over my piece of property to you unless you give me $1 million. It's a nice, fancy building in Manhattan. I don't want to give it to you unless you give me $1 million for the signing of the document. I keep halacha. And halacha is that you get the building. But I don't want to sign. You can't force me to sign." So the Rabbanim paskin, very interesting. What would you paskin? Huh? You have to pay her. They said he has to pay her $50. Why 50? I just made up a number. You have to pay her for her time. for a time. She cannot demand an exaggerated amount. She could demand what it takes for a time. She takes some time to how much do you want? $50 an hour? $100 an hour? I'll give you $100 an hour. But she cannot demand $1 million for her signature. Zog the Gemara. Umalka Omar, and the king said, Lo likni yara ela bigarto. The king says that the only way to purchase land is with documentation. Omar Le, so Rav Yosef says, I don't know. You're right, I don't know. Basically, he does know, but he's saying, I don't know. There was a place called Dur de Ravasa, or the village of the shepherds, shepherd village. A Jew purchased land from the non-Jew. Before I forget, I need to show you this real quickly. This is the cover Reb Yoel Gold. I watched his video on Tisha B'Av, and Dailem could still watch it, I'm sure. I don't know, I didn't ask him, but I'm thinking it's still online somewhere. So, somebody just sent me this email. You see this guy, he's part of the new video. Basically, he's a ger that from a different, last year's video was all about this place in Venezuela. I think that the priest became a ger together with a lot of people from his community. A fascinating story. So this year, part of the video is like a follow-up. Here's the follow-up. This guy's name is Yonathan. What I didn't know is, so somebody sends me this he says, Yonathan is a part of the video. He talks about how he really, really wanted to be a ger. And it's very emotional. Like when he's in a shul and he's wearing tefillin in the shul, he says, I can't believe I'm in a shul. Like we take it for granted we're in a shul. And he made it into shul and he's so excited to be in a shul. So that's another thing. I mean, you could go on and on. Because us, you look at lahavdil, other religions, and they go into their place, they go once a week, whatever, so they have a lot of yira, like a lot of reverence for their place, and we unfortunately, we talk, we schmooze. They don't do that so much because they're not as, we go 3 times a day, so we get used to it. I was thinking, like, look at he was in tears talking about, I'm in a shul. He was so excited, I'm in a shul. And okay, shul. I was just there, I'm in a shul right now, big deal. Great. So, but anyways, this Yonathan guy here, he's part of MDY. I didn't know he's part of MDY. And he was at the Shabbaton. We do a Shabbaton. This year we're doing it again, Be'ezer Hashem. And, if anybody here thinks that Yoel Gold should come to the Shabbaton, make some noise. Yeah. All right. I'll schmooze with him. We'll schmooze later. I think you should come. It's fascinating. Really, you should all come. December 20th, I think it is. We sold out last year, and Be'ezer Hashem, we're going to sell it real quickly this year. Same place. We could fit 750 people approximately, 770. We'll say 770. Why not? And it was an unbelievable Shabbos. Why was there? And it was crazy. People crying and laughing. It was emotional. It was unbelievable. Big rejuvenation of the batteries. But anyways, this guy was there. Yonathan was there. And he mentioned to Mayor Planka, one of our reps in Toronto, the guy in Toronto, he says, I have tefillin. I don't even know if they're kosher. So Mayor turns around, and within 2 minutes, they bought him a pair of tefillin. And the tefillin that he's wearing in this video, says Mayor Planka, was MDY purchased. So it's a small world. It's Gishmak, another story of chesed and everything else. Zog the Gemara. We're almost done here. Also coming to Rabbi Yehuda. So there's a story where a Jew purchased land from an idol worshiper. Vasi Yisrael Achrina Rovik Bapurta, and this other Jew came along, knows the halacha, used the shovel. Also coming to Rabbi Yehuda, Ukma Biyad the Sheni. So they came to Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yehuda said, you know what? He's a bad guy. He's a Rasha, Ani Mahavach B'charara, the whole thing. But it's his. But who's Rabbi Yehuda? Who is Rabbi Yehuda's Rebbe? Rav and Shmuel. So everything Rabbi Yehuda says must be from his Rebbe Shmuel. So obviously Shmuel also holds like this. Says the Gemara, Omalei, Dur the Ravasa Kamers, you bring me a raya from this place called Dur the Ravasa. Hasam Bagi Mitamri Yavu. Over there people used to hide their real estate. Dinu Gufayu Lehavi Yavit Haskalamalka. I love this. Okay, I hope I could say this here. But I found out that it's not. There are people that they, instead of saying ask, they say ax. Yeah? And then I heard that's not a racist thing. There's people like in England, this different community. No, people wrote to me. I ask you a question. So over here it's task. Task means tax. But instead of tax, it's task. Okay? Task, not tax. Look, taska. Taska means tax. It's just a way to speak. It's a different way of speaking. You got to pay your askers. I don't know, your taskers. Pay your taskers. The inu gufay lo yahavi avet taska lemalko. Umalko Omar, they themselves didn't pay taxes. Umalko Omar man diyov taska leichol ara. And the king said, whoever pays the taxes on this property, he gets the property. So who gets the property? The second guy gets the property. That's why the second guy gets, because the first guy wasn't even the owner of the property. Because the king, if we're going to talk about Dina de Malchusa Dina, that whatever goes in the land, the rules of the land go. The rules of the land are that the first guy doesn't even own it. Why doesn't he own it? Because he doesn't pay taxes. You don't pay taxes, you don't own it. The second guy who paid the taxes, he comes in and he grabs it. And Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. Wow.